Have you ever sat at the dinner table, looked around, and realized it's been weeks, maybe even months, since your phone last lit up with a message from your kids? Just to check in or say hello. You might start wondering, did I do something wrong? Or, why does it feel like I'm invisible now? You're not alone if you've had that sinking feeling. That quiet doubt. That ache of wondering whether the people you raised with so much love and effort still want you in their lives the way they once did. Getting older comes with its own challenges, aches in your joints, changes in your health, adjustments to your daily routine. But nothing quite hits the heart like feeling unwanted by your own children. And here's the truth. It's one of the hardest things to talk about. No one wants to admit that they feel left out or overlooked by the people they once held in their arms. But sometimes we need to name the pain before we can start to heal it. That's why we're having this conversation today, not to point fingers or stir up guilt, but to shine a light on those quiet signs, those subtle, sometimes confusing behaviors that might be telling you your kids have started to pull away. And more importantly, what you can do about it. Not out of desperation, but out of self-respect, clarity, and strength. Because you deserve relationships built on love and mutual care, not silent rejection. 1. They rarely reach out first anymore. Let's begin with something simple but powerful. You notice that your kids rarely reach out first anymore. Maybe it started small, a missed phone call, a delayed text, but now you're the one making all the effort. You're the one calling, asking to meet up, checking in, and when you stop initiating, nothing happens. Days pass, weeks. The silence is louder than any argument. That kind of one-sided connection wears on the soul. It makes you question your worth, even though deep down, you know you've done your part. The truth is, when someone values you, anyone, but especially family, they make space for you in their life. They don't wait for you to always be the one reaching out. Sure, life gets busy. People have jobs, families, responsibilities, but no one is too busy for the people they truly care about. Not for weeks on end. So when your child's phone seems to always be available for everyone else, but never for you, that's not just coincidence. It's a message, even if it's an unspoken one. 2. Your meetings feel rushed and cold. Now maybe you've noticed something else. When you do manage to talk or meet up, it feels rushed, cold, almost like they're checking off a box rather than genuinely wanting to spend time with you. You're sitting across from them, trying to make conversation, and their eyes keep drifting to their phone. Their answers are short, polite, maybe, but distant. It's like you're a visitor in their life, not a parent. That kind of emotional distance doesn't just hurt. It confuses. You might start wondering if you're imagining it, or being too sensitive. But emotional closeness is something you can feel. It shows in eye contact, in laughter, in follow-up questions, in warmth. When those things disappear, it's not your imagination. Something's shifted. And here's the hard truth we sometimes avoid saying out loud. Not all distance is caused by arguments or big blow-ups. Sometimes people simply drift away because they don't feel the need to stay connected, or because they've placed their priorities elsewhere. That doesn't mean you're unworthy of love. It means it's time to start noticing the patterns instead of holding on to what used to be. 3. You're kept out of important updates. Maybe there was a time when your child used to call for advice, to share big news, to hear your voice when they were having a rough day. But now you hear important updates through someone else. Or not at all. They've moved, changed jobs, even gotten married or had a child. And you weren't part of that story until much later. If at all, that stings. Not because you're trying to control their life, but because you want to share in it. Isn't that what family is for? So when you start to feel like an afterthought in your child's life, don't brush it off. Don't excuse it away with, they're just busy, or, they'll come around. Pay attention to how often you're left out of the loop. Because being excluded once or twice is normal. But being excluded consistently is a sign. A quiet but powerful sign that maybe they don't see you as part of their inner circle anymore. And that's not something you should ignore. I want you to hear this loud and clear. Noticing these signs doesn't make you bitter or dramatic. It makes you aware. And awareness is the first step to taking care of your emotional well-being. Because when you see what's really happening, you can choose how to respond. Not with anger, not with guilt, but with wisdom and strength. 4. You feel like a burden. You know, one of the most heartbreaking realizations for a parent is when you feel like you're being tolerated, not appreciated, like you've gone from being the foundation of your child's life to just another obligation on their calendar. Something they squeeze in between errands. Or worse, forget altogether. And it's not always loud or obvious. In fact, sometimes it's the silence that says the most. You might start to notice that when you're around, your child seems uncomfortable, like your presence is more of a burden than a blessing. The warmth is gone, the spark in their eyes when they used to see you. It's faded, and instead of leaning in, they keep a bit of distance. Both physically and emotionally. They're not rude, but they're not engaged either. They look at their watch more than your face. They nod politely, but their eyes drift. It's like they've mentally left the room before they've even said goodbye. And it stings, doesn't it? Especially when you think back to all those years you stayed up late helping with homework. Or the nights you went without so they could have enough. The way you cheered them on at every recital, every game, every milestone. And now you feel like a stranger in their world. Not because you change, but because something in their heart closed off. And no one bothered to tell you when it happened. 5. You're emotionally excluded, even when present. Sometimes the distance shows up in even subtler ways. Let's say you get invited to a family event, a birthday, a graduation, a holiday dinner. But when you arrive, your child barely acknowledges you. They don't introduce you to their friends. They don't sit near you. In group conversations, they skip over your thoughts. You're present, but not included. Not really. And here's the truth. Being physically invited doesn't always mean being emotionally welcomed. You can be in the same room and still feel like an outsider. That's a sign, a painful one. It means they're checking a box. I invited mom, or dad was there. But their heart isn't in it. And that kind of coldness, especially when it comes from your child, can leave deep scars. You might tell yourself, maybe I'm overthinking it, or maybe they're just distracted, but your gut knows, your heart feels it, and ignoring that feeling won't make it go away. 6. They share their life with everyone but you. Another sign, and this one often cuts deep, is when your child shares their life with everyone but you. They post on social media. They tell stories to friends. They keep up with in-laws or distant relatives. But with you? Silence. No calls to share good news. No texts when something big happens. You find things out secondhand. Or sometimes not at all. It's hard not to take that personally. And honestly, you should pay attention to it. When someone intentionally keeps you out of their life updates, that's not a random oversight. That's a decision. They're choosing who gets access to their inner world. And if you're not on that list anymore, it speaks volumes. It might even go further. When you try to ask about their life, how work is going, how their health is, what's new, they shut it down. Everything's fine, they say. Or, just busy. The conversation ends before it ever really begins. It's like there's a wall you can't climb over. And no matter how gently or lovingly you try, they keep it up. Now, it's not about prying or needing to know every detail. It's about connection. A healthy parent-child relationship includes sharing, opening up, and staying curious about one another's lives. When that curiosity dies off, from their side, it means the bond is weakening. And you can feel it in your bones when it happens. 7. They get easily annoyed by you. Let's talk about something else that might be happening without you even realizing it. They get irritated with you. Over nothing. You ask a simple question, and they respond like you've asked something ridiculous. You offer a suggestion, and they roll their eyes. You try to share a memory or a little story, and they sigh, as if your presence is exhausting. Now, sure, everyone has bad days, but when it becomes a pattern, when nearly everything you say seems to rub them the wrong way, it's not just stress, it's resentment. It's emotional withdrawal. And here's the hard part. Sometimes they don't even know they're doing it. They just feel bothered. And unfortunately, you become the target of that energy. You start walking on eggshells. You second guess every word. You feel like you have to tiptoe around your own child just to avoid upsetting them. And I'll say this clearly. That's not love. That's not how it's supposed to be. 8. They refuse to talk and fix things. What makes this even harder is that when problems come up, misunderstandings, hurt feelings, moments that need conversation, you're the only one who wants to talk. You bring it up gently, hoping to clear the air, but they brush it off, change the subject, shut down, or worse, make you feel guilty for even bringing it up. And you know what that creates? A loop. You feel hurt, try to fix it, they avoid it, you stay hurt, and nothing changes. That loop slowly drains you. It makes you question whether your feelings even matter. But they do. They absolutely do. Real relationships, especially between parents and children, are supposed to grow through open dialogue, through listening, through mutual care. If they're unwilling to sit down, to look you in the eye and say, "Let's figure this out," then they've already decided that the relationship isn't a priority. And that decision may not be spoken out loud, but it's loud enough through their actions. The power of letting go and living your own life. And maybe, as you're listening to this, a part of you is wondering if it's your fault, if you could have done something differently. Let me stop you right there. Parenting doesn't come with a manual. You did the best you could with what you had at the time. You loved, you sacrificed, you tried, and maybe mistakes were made. We all have those chapters in our story. But you do not deserve to be erased from the lives of people you raised. Instead of chasing after someone who's pulling away, you begin to pour that love, that energy, back into yourself. You start reconnecting with your own life, your own friends, your community, your hobbies, your joy, and that shift can be magnetic. Sometimes, when we stop trying to prove our worth, others start to notice it again. But even if they don't, you still win, because you've chosen peace over pain, clarity over confusion. That choice starts with simply recognizing the signs, seeing them for what they are, letting go of the fantasy that one more phone call or one more visit will change everything. Sometimes, the real change begins when you finally stop chasing and start standing tall. You are not invisible, you are not disposable, and you are certainly not alone. You are the author of your own story. You've lived, sacrificed, endured, you've loved, and you still have so much love to give, whether your kids return it or not. From this moment on, I want you to promise yourself something. No more begging, no more shrinking, no more waiting for a text or a call that never comes. Your life is too precious to spend in emotional limbo. Instead, start reclaiming your joy. Start reconnecting with who you are outside of the role of parent. That role is sacred, yes, but it's not the only thing that defines you. You are a friend, a learner, a creator, a soul with endless depth. You still have days ahead of you that can be filled with purpose, laughter, and peace, so let them be. And if your kids someday realize what they're missing and come back with open hearts, you'll be there, but not as someone desperate for scraps of attention. You'll be there as someone whole, grounded, and full of quiet strength. That's the kind of presence that leaves a mark, not just on them, but on the world. So take a deep breath. Lift your chin. You've got more love to give, more life to live, and more people to bless with your presence. And if no one has told you lately, you matter. You are deeply, truly loved, maybe not always by the people you expected, but by the ones who see you, and by yourself. And that is more than enough.